Welcome to the Venari Podcast. I'm Tim Hartnell, and in this episode of the Packaging CEO series, I'll be speaking with Karri Koskela, who is CEO at Wipak Group. Karri has worked with some fantastic brands, including Huhtamaki, DS Smith, Suominen, and he began his career in '97 working in consulting. Karri, welcome. It's great to be talking to you again. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, Tim. Happy to be here. Thank you for introducing my background at the moment. It almost sounds that I've been in the industry, I'm not going to say way too long, but it seems that I've been around.
Certainly done some things, that's for sure. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about Karri's role, company mission, a bit about ESG, and of course, the future of packaging. So let's get started.
Very good.
Karri, maybe you can tell us a little bit about Wipak.
Well, of course, Wipak is the European and Asian brand and packaging arm of the Vihuri Group. We are, of course, a family-owned company already from 120 years ago at the moment. And I think we've been, particularly from the late 60s, a company that is known for innovation. And I think nowadays our world has been about sustainability, not only the recent years or months, but we've actually already are walking down a very ambitious strategy on carbon neutrality since 2019, where we are pretty successful actually moving forward. So I think we are one of the larger players on the flexible packaging side, particularly, and nowadays doing, maybe I would cautiously say, even better than in the past.
Great, that's what we like to hear. Fantastic. And then, so last year, saw obviously you brought out the company's first ESG report, which must have been a pretty proud moment for you all. What's most exciting about the report? Maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit more about that.
Well, of course, like with everything, you got your first. So a lot of the excitement, of course, came together on that one, and a lot of it actually sort of came around to the nut that we wanted to really tell the industry, tell the audience really what we've been achieving on our strategy path. So a lot of that was actually then showcasing the success that we've done as a team, the real genuine actions. And if you want to put an icing on a cake, I think being able to report over 60% reduction on scope 1 and 2 emissions on CO2, which is verified, was a clear indicator to the industry saying is that we don't just set targets way towards the future, but we are able to report also some really genuine progress on that first report that came out. And of course, now talking to you, Tim, now, of course, at this stage of the year, we're actually just came out with the second one. So it seems that we're on a roll.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we had a discussion around it at our round table in Helsinki last year, where we were talking about sustainability, ESG, and what companies were trying to do to sort of achieve that. And I remember you talking, at length about some of those things you just mentioned there. It's on everyone's mind at the moment. I think, scope 1, scope 2, certainly scope 3 are all sort of difficult indicators, difficult to sort of get right. But it sounds like, you're doing a lot to achieve there. So it's great to hear. Jumping around a bit on the questions, but you've obviously been CEO for a while now. Have you got any sort of lessons that you've learned as obviously a prominent figure within packaging?
Well, I think like my colleagues at the moment, we've seen very much of the traditional corporate learnings that we've done at the moment, but maybe particularly in the recent times, actually around this sustainability topic. I mean, I've been working in packaging with sustainability over 20 years already, but nowadays it really is about the hard proof. So one of the key learnings that I've done actually over the last couple of years is that I'm not going to say that it was easy to make statements in the past, but it was certainly easier. And one of the key learnings at the moment we're getting currently at the moment is that if you're going to make an environmental claim, if you're going to make a sustainability claim, you need to be really ready to prove it and to validate it. So the element of transparency on, for example, ESG reporting is mind-blowing compared to what it was even 5 years ago. And the second thing also, which is really important, is that then when you talk about sustainability, you're able to demonstrate it. You're really able to demonstrate it, not only by numbers, but like I said, I'll give you a practicality. This is an award-winning product, Flexboard, coming from the 24 German packaging awards. This is where the sustainability really materializes. It's a product. It's a genuine product that can be actually then showcased not only to customers, but sold tomorrow. So the learnings which are coming through, for example, one of the things is really about showing the real life examples and the transparent numbers on sustainability. But one of the other learnings also at the moment, and it starts seeming is that I'm a little bit already old, which at least to my kids I am, is that there's a huge amount of work that we CEOs still need to do regarding the image of plastics, of flexible plastics packaging. One of the learnings that I nowadays look at it already as a senior figure in the field is that we still get actually questioned significantly some of the negative images and impacts of plastic packaging, like ocean pollution, which is a big issue. But at the same time, if you look at packaging and you look at food waste overall, in a way, between, the production all the way to home, 30% of food is lost between that supply chain, which packaging could prevent. And I think what we as an industry leaders have not succeeded really well is to really promote is that if plastic packaging or flexible packaging can be part of that solution, we are sitting at an opportunity which is a magnitude of CO2 emissions of the China annual emissions as a whole. So if somebody would talk about this, that we've got a solution actually to how to fix China's CO2 emissions globally, it would be CNN or BBC News even before the evening session hits. And I'm not trying to put China wrongfully here on the spotlight. I'm just trying to give a magnitude on this issue. And these benefits that we're able to achieve with flexible packaging, we're not in a good way. And that perception is something as a learning that I'm taking away is that maybe if I could rewind 10 years, maybe that's a thought that I would actually go back and think is that how I can systematically start improving that as an image as well.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I think, rewinding the times, I think people would like to do a lot of things and try and tackle things in maybe a slightly different way or get to the point a bit quicker. But certainly some interesting metrics there. I wonder if you've seen any changes between the segments you work across. So you got food packaging, pharmaceutical, you got the med devices side. Do they vary in terms of where you're seeing sustainability head? Are there more challenges in one than the other?
Well, of course, if we just look at Europe, for example, it's clear is that the packaging and packaging waste regulation is going to impact the timeline, and therefore it has certain changes. Now, the medical devices industry also has certain recent regulations on the so-called MDR regulations, which is actually a significant risk assessment issue that they need to go through. So it a little bit comes in phases. But I think it's a good example. In 2009, we announced in one of the leading fairs in medical devices is that we're going to go for carbon neutrality and sustainability. And everybody at the fair asked is that, what on earth are you marketing? And they were telling us is that this is not about the industry. If you now go and visit the same fair, there is not a single packaging supplier who would not have a sustainability theme. So I think what is really important to see also is that we talk about food, we talk about recyclability, all that's on the agenda. But the medical devices, hospital care, pharma is not that far behind because they need to do also their bit towards the future. And that's been a recent interesting trend that's been increasing a little bit silently, but particularly in the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's really encouraging. I'm hearing that as well. We all know that you hear pharmaceutical sort of med device packaging players say, it takes 7-8 years to change a format. Like, it's incredible. So they're obviously, there are challenges with that, obviously, but no, it's good to know that it is top of mind and it's becoming part of the sort of, agenda. Great. Turning our attention to sort of hiring now. I had a quick question about, how do you attract talent to sort of Wipak, and what do you look for? Maybe that's a functional aspect to that. You hire in one function more than the others, but maybe you could tell our viewers about sort of some of those.
Well, I think it starts fundamentally from really basics on how we are attracting talent nowadays, and that's why I'm really happy about our strategy, because the sustainability and again what we're able to demonstrate clearly is a magnet actually for talent. We've been actually a little bit even surprised about it. So when we interview people, irrespective of what the position is in, whether it's somebody at the offices, whether it's somebody at the show floor, actually consistently the sustainability is actually coming through. So in the hiring issue, it really boils down is that the brand needs to talk to the individuals. Nowadays, companies used to think is that in the past that people came to them for work. But nowadays, we need to think it through in a completely different manner, is that we need to be the ones that attract the top talents, because there are tens and hundreds of other companies who are going after the same top talents. And if our brand, if our messaging and the discussion dialogue that we're able to have with those type of people is not correct, it doesn't matter what kind of a show we put on. It's not gonna fly. People are so good nowadays actually in researching their future jobs and things like that. And that's why really the background story, in our case on sustainability and carbon neutrality, is the number one attracting element what we currently have. Then of course our local leaders are doing a lot of work with their communities, with the universities, with the technical schools, really to bringing people slowly, surely introduced so that they know what we do. So it's not just about high profile PowerPoints and presentation, but it is a lot about the legwork as well. But we need to do the marketing towards the people, and particularly the younger generation, in a similar effort that we're doing it to our customers when we're doing the products. And that's why HR is completely different in terms of a function. Now, you asked me about capabilities, for example. It's not anymore about technical or sales skills or things like that. It's about digitalization. It's about understanding value chains. It's about understanding storytelling. You know, the hardcore R&D will never disappear. There are new wings, new materials and things like that, which is there. So the new world particularly is digitalizing at the moment, in addition to the hardcore classical packaging related skills, which are in the background. And that digital element, we are looking at each and every candidate, again, across the different positions what we have, because it will be inevitably not only about the future, because it's already about yesterday.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's holistic view, looking at a number of obviously factors in terms of attracting talent, but you've got to all be on the same page. Otherwise, it's inherently going to have challenges there. So no, thank you for that. So yeah, finally, maybe share with us, what you're excited about over the next few years. Clearly, the sort of landscape shifting a little bit. We talked about PPWR and some of the regs across Europe. Yeah, maybe share with us some things you're excited about in the future.
R&D, first of all, as a topic, particularly one of those things that actually is an interesting thing, again, PPWR coming on play. People development, really, again, going back to your good question about talent attraction, those are not anymore something that is outsourced to departments, neither the R&D or HR, but they are clearly one of the top agendas, which is on my topics. We have a certain internal transformation program at the moment, of course, what we're doing and making our company even more customer friendly. But if you want to, again, put a bit of a sort of a topic that you want to highlight, maybe the recent publication that we did together with Digimarc, actually, of becoming one of the centers of excellence globally together with Digimarc, really to digitalize packaging in a manner which is cost-effective, scalable, and would solve a lot of issues, whether it's related to supply chain management, quality control, fraud management, not to mention about recyclability. That digital thing actually is one of the most exciting things currently that I'm working on a day-to-day basis.
Brilliant. No, thank you for sharing. And I think collaboration is key. I keep hearing collaboration all the time when I'm speaking to clients. So yeah, it seems like that is the future, but it's exciting. So thank you for sharing that. Well, look, Karri, it's been a pleasure. I know you're a busy man, so I'll let you get off to the day-to-day. Thanks again for coming on. I'm sure our listeners will be super pleased with obviously the way you've spoken and what you've spoken about. So appreciate it. Good luck in the coming months, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.